It's a phone that brings several eye-catching and headline-worthy hardware features. Combine that with a promising new software direction, Samsung is clearly not afraid of change. But are they making all the right moves? Let's talk about my experience with the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus in a little more detail. The first thing I noticed when picking up the phone was how light it was. It's 25 grams lighter than the Note 9 despite being very similar in size. The weight makes using and carrying the phone around just slightly more comfortable. It's hard to argue that the S10 Plus is a beautiful device to look at and hold. With that being said, the phone is still glass on glass, meaning it's slippery and will likely crack if you drop it. My S10 Plus went into a case the day I received it, and it's been in one since. The entire S10 lineup this year still comes equipped with a headphone jack. Although wireless is likely the future, it's super handy to have one. So good on Samsung for fitting it in. They also bundled a pair of Akg Tuned Earbuds in the box. If this is your first Samsung device, I think you'll be pleased with how decent they sound. I'm still using the pair for my Note 9 regularly. Call quality for the S10 Plus has been excellent. I use the speakerphone a lot and it gets plenty loud thanks to the phone's dual speakers. Comparing sound quality to last year's Note 9, the S10 Plus seems slightly louder and a tad bit clearer. Honestly, nothing to brag about. Where you will see a big improvement is in the wireless charging speeds. One of the biggest knocks on wireless charging is how slow it is. The S10 series comes with fast wireless charging 2.0. I've been testing the speeds and it basically takes 10 to 15 minutes longer to fully charge compared to plugging your phone in. That's seriously impressive. You will have to pick up Samsung's new wireless charging dual pad to enable it though. On to the main attraction, the screen. Samsung is sticking with their infinity display design on the S10 and S10 Plus. It's brighter, more color accurate, and just invites you to use it. It even comes HDR10 Plus certified if that's something that's important to you. My biggest concern when I first saw the S10 Plus display was how apps and content would be affected due to the new Infinity O design, aka the hole in the screen. So let's talk about that. Samsung handles the camera cutout by basically making it a part of the status bar. Although it does make the status bar a little thicker, this means that it shouldn't cut into the majority of apps. For this reason, I haven't found it very intrusive during day-to-day usage. The battery and signal indicators have also been shifted to the left to accommodate for the cutout. I'll be honest, it's not the prettiest setup, but it gets the job done. Watching media is probably where you expect to notice the punch hole the most. In Netflix, content actually stays to the right to avoid the punch hole completely. YouTube videos, on the other hand, are optimized to utilize the entire display and fully embraces the cutout. Despite it cutting into my YouTube content, I surprisingly stopped noticing it after a couple of days. My friend made an interesting point about the cutout being similar to a beauty mark. You notice it at first, but after some time, it can become a defining feature. Some have actually started using creative wallpapers to complement the cutout, and even Samsung has gotten in on the fun. Now, that's clever marketing. At the end of the day, I can only speak for myself, and only you will know if the cutout is something you can live with. Just a heads up, there is no longer a notification LED. It's one of the things that had to go to achieve the near bezel-less display that everyone seems to be chasing. I'm disappointed, but edge lighting is a decent substitute. Besides being a gorgeous display, my favorite part of the screen has to be that the dynamic AMOLED panel cuts down on harmful blue light. It does this without changing the on-screen color or affecting image quality. Samsung calls it an eye comfort display, which should help prevent eye strain and fatigue. Having used the S10 Plus a lot over the past few weeks, I can vouch that it feels much easier on my eyes when compared to past devices like the Note 9. It's a great quality of life feature that many will probably overlook. I'm glad it's a thing. To unlock and get to that display, Samsung has equipped the S10 Plus with an ultrasonic fingerprint reader embedded right in the screen. It uses sound waves to detect the ridges of your fingertip in 3D, so it's actually very secure. Can we just take a second to appreciate how cool that is? Cool factor aside, my initial experience with it was a little mixed. Thankfully, a release date update improved the reliability of the scanner. It's been much more forgiving since then, but I wouldn't call it perfect though. The big question, is it better than a physical one placed on the back of the phone? Kind of, I guess. Both can unlock without requiring you to wake the phone up first. Speed-wise, the Ultrasonic feels on par or maybe just a tiny bit slower. What I liked about having the scanner on the back is that there was a physical guide to where your finger needs to go, something you don't get with an in-display scanner. A single tap on the always-on display will activate a visual indicator, which I used a lot for the first week with the phone. You know what I missed immediately? Having the ability to pull down the notification shade from any app with a swipe of the rear-mounted fingerprint sensor. You can still do that on the S10e since it has a side-mounted one. Where I think the in-display scanner really shines is for those who like to use their devices while it's laying on a table. There's no need to pick up your phone to access a rear scanner anymore. Overall, despite the unlock animation being a little jumpy at times, Samsung's ultrasonic fingerprint scanner works well and should continue to be improved and refined with future software updates. A biometric security option that we lost is the iris scanner. I found the iris scanner to be very handy for those glove-wearing winter days here in Toronto. Face unlock is still present, but since it's 2D, it's not the most secure option. I will give it credit for working very well and being super convenient when combined with lift to wake. Still sad to see the iris scanner go though. Battery life has been amazing. Having used the Note 9 extensively since release, which has very solid battery performance, the S10 Plus has regularly outlasted the Note 9 during my testing. Everyone's usage is going to be different, but I think you'll be very pleased with how well the battery performs on the Plus version of the S10. If you find yourself with too much battery left over, Samsung introduced something called wireless power share, which is essentially reverse wireless charging. You can use it to wirelessly charge another device in desperate situations, but what it's really made for is charging wireless wearables like Samsung's own Galaxy Buds or Galaxy Watches. Plug your phone in, enable power share, drop your wearable on top, and now both devices are being charged through one cable. That's one less cable and charging dock to carry with you on trips. I also found that it even tells you the phone's battery percentage on the watch while both are charging. Note that PowerShare will only work if the phone's battery is above 30%. If you don't own any wearables that can wirelessly charge, this feature obviously won't seem as handy, maybe even gimmicky. I personally love the idea. Having a way to charge up my wearables at any given time, anywhere, is a win in my book. Let's talk about the cameras. You get 2 on the front and 3 on the back for a total of 5. Starting with selfies, there is definitely an improvement in detail. I know a lot of people will hate on Samsung for their beauty mode, but I've had conversations with plenty of people outside the tech community who don't want all their blemishes being captured in photos. Samsung's live focus portrait mode now has 4 new filters: blur, spin bokeh, zoom bokeh, and color point. Through the new dedicated Instagram mode, the software is clearly catering for those who want images ready to share on social media. My favorite feature when it comes to the cameras has to be the 123-degree ultra-wide angle lens. Combined with a telephoto lens, the S10 Plus can optically zoom 2 times in and out. I found myself always taking the same photo twice, once with the regular lens and one with the ultra wide. I love how much more of the scene you can fit into the shot, and on some occasions, it just totally gives you a whole new perspective. My nitpicks with photos are that it can struggle to capture moving subjects, especially indoors, and low light shots aren't as impressive as some other competitors. The good news, Samsung still offers a pro mode where, with a little knowledge and patience, you can remedy both these problems. On the video front, 4K video recording no longer has a time limit. Last year's Note 9 had a 5-minute cap. The front-facing camera is now capable of recording up to 4K resolution, making this a terrific phone for vlogging. Super Steady uses the ultra-wide camera and predictive software to create 1080p footage that is seriously gimbal-like stable. When it comes to video, I think Samsung nailed it. With all the flashy hardware features out of the way, let's talk about the thing that's going to glue everything together: the software. Samsung introduced One UI as a solution for the industry trend towards larger screen sizes. The idea behind One UI is to make interacting with your phone more comfortable, shifting elements you interact with towards the bottom. You get a built-in system-wide dark mode, Everything is cleaner and easier to understand, especially for someone who's never touched a Samsung device before. It just feels a lot less intimidating. The icons come off a little cartoonish, but you quickly get used to them. Personally, I've become a fan of the bright colors and their simplicity. Overall, during day-to-day use, the software has been smooth and a pleasure to use. I really like the direction Samsung is taking with their One UI software. It's unique and functional, but definitely still needs a bit of polishing here and there. Samsung's digital assistant still lives on a dedicated button. A single press or double press of the button can now be remapped to open any app on your phone, making the button a little more useful for those who aren't fans of Bixby. Something new introduced with the S10 lineup are Bixby Routines, which gives you the ability to automate tedious tasks. An example I've been using is every time I open YouTube, Bixby Routines will automatically turn on auto rotate so I can watch videos in landscape mode. This helps prevent annoying accidental screen rotations in other apps. Routines is a nice added feature that gives Bixby a new layer of functionality. There's a lot to like with the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Although not perfect, it's one of the most well-rounded smartphones out right now. Losing the iris scanner, notification LED, and pressure-sensitive home button in exchange for the head-turning Infinity O display is a trade-off that some will find hard to swallow. But Samsung sweetens the deal with very impressive battery life, a versatile ultra-wide-angle lens, and great video recording capabilities. Throw in a futuristic fingerprint scanner, faster wireless charging, and the ability to charge wearables in a pinch, the phone is checking off a lot of boxes. If you're currently using any Samsung flagship from last year, I don't think you need to upgrade. If you want the latest and greatest, packed full of features, and can swallow the price tag, the Galaxy S10 Plus is easily at the top of my recommendation list. I really like the phone.